Angela Merkel's unprecedented tenure as German Chancellor from 2005 to 2021 is a story of resilience, pragmatism, and polarizing decisions. Revered as Europe's steadfast crisis manager, Merkel navigated Germany and the European Union through some of the most turbulent times of the 21st century. Yet, her leadership also left behind a contentious legacy marked by vulnerabilities, strategic missteps, and missed opportunities. Here's a closer look at the factors that defined her appeal and the criticisms that marred her record. The allure of Angela Merkel. Angela Merkel's enduring popularity can be traced to 6 key traits that defined her leadership. Mastering crises with steady hands. Merkel earned her stripes as Europe's de facto leader during crises such as the Eurozone debt debacle, the refugee influx of 2015, and the global COVID-19 pandemic. Her pragmatic and calculated decisions often acted as a stabilizing force in moments of uncertainty. During the Eurozone crisis, for instance, she spearheaded bailout packages worth hundreds of billions of euros, averting financial collapse in countries like Greece and Spain. Her cautious approach, though sometimes slow, gave people confidence in her ability to navigate complex situations, an icon of trust and stability. Merkel's ability to instill trust was unparalleled. Regularly topping approval polls, she embodied reliability in a world rife with political volatility. Unlike many leaders, she avoided grandiose rhetoric, opting instead for a practical, no-nonsense approach. Her background as a trained physicist further cemented her reputation as a leader who prioritized facts and reason, which proved invaluable during the pandemic when scientific decisions were pivotal. Pragmatism and political compromise. Merkel's unique ability to find middle ground on contentious issues solidified her reputation as a shrewd negotiator. From mediating disagreements within the EU to managing domestic debates on issues like renewable energy and immigration, her knack for balancing competing interests became her hallmark. Her compromises during the refugee crisis, including a controversial deal with Turkey to curb migrant flows into Europe, exemplified this approach. Champion of European unity. At a time when populism and nationalism threatened the EU's cohesion, Merkel stood as a bulwark of unity. Her leadership during Brexit negotiations and her firm stance against Russian aggression in Ukraine highlighted her commitment to European solidarity. She played a central role in brokering aid agreements that preserved the EU's fragile economic and political stability. A leader of humility. Merkel's modest lifestyle and unpretentious demeanor resonated deeply with Germans. Shunning extravagance, she embraced a simplicity that aligned with the German ethos of humility and hard work. Her lack of personal scandals and focus on governance over image building further enhanced her standing. Germany's economic guardian. Under Merkel's leadership, Germany solidified its role as Europe's economic powerhouse. Between 2005 and 2020, the German economy grew steadily, and unemployment fell from 11% to under 4%. This prosperity bolstered her domestic popularity and cemented Germany's influence within the EU. While Merkel's tenure was marked by remarkable achievements, her policies also sowed the seeds of long-term challenges. Energy policy gambles. Merkel's decision to phase out nuclear energy after the Fukushima disaster in 2011 had unintended consequences. While environmentally motivated, this shift left Germany reliant on coal and Russian gas, undermining its climate goals. In 2021, nearly 40% of Germany's energy still came from fossil fuels, with Russian gas accounting for over half of its imports, a vulnerability exposed during Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Deepening Russian energy ties. Projects like Nord Stream 2 became symbols of Merkel's strategic missteps. Critics argued that these initiatives empowered Russia while weakening Europe's collective energy security, a decision whose repercussions were starkly felt in 2022. missed modernization opportunities. Despite its economic clout, Germany under Merkel lagged behind in critical areas such as digital infrastructure, technological innovation, and defense spending. By 2020, Germany ranked 12th in the EU for broadband connectivity, a startling figure for a country at the heart of Europe. Her commitment to fiscal conservatism, embodied in the Black Zero policy, left key sectors underfunded, the refugee crisis and political fallout. Merkel's open-door policy during the 2015 refugee crisis showcased her humanitarian values but came at a political cost. The admission of over 1 million refugees fueled the rise of the far-right Alternative for Deutschland (AfD) party, creating political polarization and strain on public resources. EU solidarity also fractured as member states like Hungary and Poland resisted refugee resettlement plans. Economic interests over democratic values. Merkel's focus on German economic interests sometimes overshadowed her commitment to democratic principles. She maintained strong trade ties with authoritarian regimes, including China, while tolerating autocratic EU leaders to preserve unity. Critics dubbed this approach mercantilism, arguing that it undermined Europe's moral standing. The pitfalls of Merkeling. Merkel's tendency to delay critical decisions until crises peaked earned her criticism for indecisiveness. During the Eurozone crisis, for example, her insistence on austerity measures exacerbated economic hardships in countries like Greece, deepening the north-south divide within the EU. Weakened political foundations. By adopting a centrist, issue-focused approach, Merkel blurred ideological lines, weakening her party's distinct identity. This vacuum left Germany's political landscape fragmented, as evidenced by the struggles of her Christian Democratic Union, CDU, after her departure. The verdict: a legacy undermined by strategic failures. Angela Merkel's tenure as Chancellor may be remembered for operational efficiency and personal decency, but these qualities ultimately failed to offset her significant strategic missteps. Her pragmatism, while effective in navigating short-term crises, often came at the cost of addressing long-term challenges. Merkel's reluctance to modernize Germany, her dependence on Russian energy, and her failure to invest in critical areas such as digital infrastructure and defense left the country ill-prepared for future demands. Her cautious, delay-driven approach, dubbed Merkeling, compounded issues rather than solving them, leaving Germany vulnerable on multiple fronts. Furthermore, her prioritization of German economic interests weakened the EU's moral and political cohesion, undermining trust in its collective values. Merkel's decisions, from deepening ties with autocratic regimes to her inconsistent handling of the refugee crisis, have cast a shadow over her legacy. In the end, Merkel's steady hand and calm demeanor cannot excuse her strategic blind spots, which will continue to haunt Germany and the EU long after her departure. Please leave a comment, like, and subscribe to the channel. You can also support us on Patreon, link below.